And I think John was getting on. Okay. I'm going to call the meeting to order of the Recreation and Parks Committee meeting and going to call for attendance, and we have Councilwoman Nicole Ayers present, Councilman Josh Goldstein. And then Mr. Heidi show up yet? No. Council member Jen McMurr and Council member Lisa Shanahan and myself. We are all present. Is there anybody on? I don't
You
think
missed
so.
John.
Oh, John, is he on?
Yeah.
Where's
Yes,
John?
ma'am.
Listed as Ken Hughes, but he's
Oh,
there.
you're Ken Hughes. I'm sorry, I got confused. I knew you were gonna come on.
Got his
And
logo.
Councilmember
John.
John Kites. Okay. All right, so we're gonna move on to get the agenda. The first item, because we don't have anybody for public participation, right?
No, we do not.
I'm still at work. I'm still in the office. Okay, so we're gonna move on to new business.
You missed the minutes, Chair.
I'm sorry. Thank you. We need approval of the minutes of May 10th. Can I make a motion to approve that? Thank you, Ms. McMurray. All in favor, please signify by saying aye or raising your hands. There any changes? No. Okay. Thank you, John. So we're gonna move on to number,
Wait, Darlene, I need to abstain from that.
you're gonna say one abstention.
I wasn't present at the meeting, so I need to
make it
abstain.
either.
So Ms. Shanahan and Mr. Goldstein were not present, so they are abstaining from that. Ms. Ayers, Ms. McMurray, myself, and Mr. Kites approve the minutes. Okay. Item 5, new business. The city of Norwalk reserves the right to cancel the event for public health or safety reasons as determined by the city of Norwalk and its sole discretion. The city of Norwalk shall not be liable for damages arising from the cancellation of the event. Item 1, approve the use of Springwood Park and immediate surrounding grounds by Youth Business Initiative for the Community Day event to be held on Saturday, June 12th, 2023, from 9 a.m. to 6 p.m., set up to begin at 7 a.m. with tear down by 5 p.m. Rain date Saturday, June 23rd, approximately 200 people. Mr. Hughes, is anyone here to speak to that?
Is Dewan Wiggins on, Darlene?
I don't see.
No, Kevin, there's no one on.
Okay, so this is an event that we held last year at Veterans Park. They used the basketball court area. It was a very good event. As you guys know, those of you who know Dewan does a great job with the kids. So he wanted to move it to Springwood Park, which is Nathaniel Ely this year. And I think that'll be a great fit because we have the basketball courts there, we have the tennis courts there, and we do have the open field. So we're looking forward, to this event.
Anybody have any comments, suggestions? Nope. All in favor? Okay, unanimous. Item 2,
Madam Chair, before you go on, I have a question, but not about that.
ahead.
Was the name of that park always Springwood Park? Or did we
I-
recently?
I've always called it Nathaniel Ely, but it
That's-
is Springwood Park.
Springwood.
Okay, because I was like, where is that? So, okay.
And you want to know why there was a health center in there, in that building at one point? You remember that? They used to have
Yeah.
a clinic that they called it at one point, and it was the Springwood Clinic. And I think that was the name, yeah.
I was trying to figure out, like, is that a new park? But
Yeah, no, that's it. Item 2, approve the use of calf pasture lawn adjacent to cafe and parking lot and immediate surrounding grounds by JDRF International for their JDF One Walk event to be held on Sunday, October 15th from 8 a.m. to 1 p.m. Set up on Friday, October 14th from 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. and Saturday, October 15th from 5 a.m. to 8 p.m. Tear down on Saturday, October 15th from 1 p.m. to 5 p.m. Approximately 200 to 500 people. Would someone please move the item? Thank you, Ms. McMurray.
Darlene, anybody on?
So Mr. Wiggins just came on. Should I allow him to for the last item, okay.
You want to deal with this one first,
Yes,
Madam
let's
Chair?
deal
and
with
then-
this one and then we
Okay.
can get to Duran.
So this is the juvenile diabetes walk. It's the first time we're holding this in Norwalk. It is at the end of the beach season, October 15th, so we don't expect the beach to be that crowded. We try to push most of our walks prior to May 15th and after October 15th for that reason. So, we're working closely with this group. We think it'll be a successful event and, we like to proceed.
Any questions? Okay, all in favor? Okay, thank you. So we'll just go back, Mr. Wiggins. I'm sorry, Mr. Goldstein? Did you have a question? Okay. All right, Mr. Wiggins is on. Would you like to share your some facts about your event?
Hello, can you guys hear me?
Yes,
Hello everyone. So on July 22nd, rain date the 23rd, we are hosting our 4th annual community day / basketball tournament. It will be located in Springwood Park, which is, I guess the address is Ingalls. Really looking forward to it. It's 4 years. It's really actually unbelievable to think about having this event for 4 years. So I don't know what other detail you need, but yeah.
that's it. Thank you. It was approved. You missed that. You were the first one.
Oh, I didn't know.
Yeah. Okay,
All right.
all right.
All right.
Thank
Have a
you.
good night.
You too. Number 3, authorize a purchasing officer to issue a purchase order to MTE Equipment Solutions, Inc. in an amount not to exceed $30,742.80. Sole source purchase of the MAFA 116 pricing contract for a 2023 Sandstar 3 infield prep machine from account numbers noted. Can someone please move the item? Thank you, Ms. Shanahan.
So, Madam Chair, this is the equipment that we use to prep our clay ball fields. We currently had an engine malfunction on one of our older ones, and the machine is no longer usable. So that was our spare. So now we're actually left without a spare. So this piece of equipment will be used to prep our ball fields, which is a big thing that we do in the Parks Department.
What's the lifespan of this?
So we've been getting about 7 to 8 years. So one of the detriments to these machines are the clay that we work in. When we have the dry, dusty conditions, a lot of that clay dust goes into the engine and air filters. So staff really has to be cognizant of keeping those clean. We wash them down daily, we blow out the air filters daily, but they get a lot of use in Norwalk. We're doing anywhere from 20 to 25 fields a day with the 2 machines, and they run 6-7 hours a day.
Any questions for Ken? Yes, Ms. McMurray?
Ken, I just have 2 quick questions. Do you feel like having the 2 machine, I'm assuming you have 2 machines if this
I know,
is
yep.
backup. Is that sufficient enough for the work that you do? And then 2, how quickly can you get this machine if we approve it this evening?
So the current, prior to this budget season, we had only 1 ball field crew. But if you remember, the Common Council was generous and provided us with additional employees. So now we have 2 ball field crews. So we have 2 machines that are working. The spare is now gone. So we're down to just the 2 machines.
Okay.
So if this is approved, I'll bring it to the Common Council. And then hopefully within 3 weeks to a month after that, hopefully we'll have the piece of equipment delivered.
Great. Great, thank you.
To Ms. McMurray's question, so we typically have 3?
So we always have a spare, so if something goes down, if we have a flat tire or something breaks, we don't lose any time because we down the bad machine and we pick up the spare and we just keep going. But now without a spare, it gets a little hairy. So if a machine goes down, not only does fleet have to scramble and try to fix it, but we lose time, with a delay on doing ball fields.
But with this purchase, we're only gonna have 2.
This will be the 3rd.
Oh, this
Right.
will be the 3rd. So
Mhm.
the spare is being,
The spare is the one that needs the engine, and it's at the point where it's not worth sinking that money into it.
okay.
The 2 machines that are currently in use,
Mhm.
how old are they? And I guess my question is, since we're already talking about buying new machines now, is it worth it to overhaul the whole fleet versus just get one?
Right.
I'll never say no to overhaul the new fleet.
No,
But-
I
but-
understand
but
that, but I'm just saying like
realistically,
how,
yeah.
like, what are, what,
Yeah, so-
how long have the other ones been around?
So realistically, one is new last year. So we're good, and one is 4 years old. So, if I needed to, honestly, I would ask for two, but I have to be, realistic and budget wise too, so.
But the
you
one
know,
that's 4 years old, I assume is working and in good condition?
Correct. So
Okay.
probably the next, budget cycle, we'll put a request in for, and just kind of keep the cycle going of replacement.
Okay.
All right. If there are no more questions, and all in favor? Okay. Unanimous. Item 4, authorize the mayor, Harry W. Rilling, to enter into a 3-year contract with Active Network LLC for the purchase of recreation management software in amount not to exceed $53,799.70 for year 1, $28,875 for year 2, $20,319 for year 3, and $31,835 for year 4. That's an extension, and $32,442. That's right, and 70 cents or something? What number is that?
Yeah, 70 cents, $442.70.
Okay. Did we do it? Okay. For year 5 extension, funding for year 1 through ARPA account, years 2, 3, 4, and 5 through the Recreation and Parks operating budget. Would someone like to move the item? Thank you, Ms. McMorro.
So, Madam Chair, this might look really familiar. This is just a technical correction. This was approved actually last July, and we're in the contract phase now with legal. So the issue was, we had the wrong number for year number 1. So we were $2,500 too low in year number 1. So we had to correct that. Everything else on this is the same, except for year 1.
Okay.
When we were doing negotiations with the vendor, there were so many different modules and things that when we did the agenda item last July, there was a little bit of confusion, and legal picked up on that when we were doing the final contract.
Okay. All in favor?
Well, Lisa's
I'm sorry, Lisa, you had your hand up for a question.
Yeah, I had one question for Ken. Ken, is this like the solution to Jody Sattler's questions? Is this?
Yes.
Yeah, thank you. I just wanted like direct her to this. So yes, very happy to hear that. Thank
This will
you.
give us the field schedules, who's using what, when, public facing. Mhm.
Okay, fantastic. Thank you. That's going
Mhm.
to save me about 2 or 3 hours a month.
Good. Ms. McMurray?
I really want to know what Jody Sattler's questions are now, but we'll talk offline about that. I just wanted to make sure, do we need to add technical correction to the verbiage of this?
So when it goes to the full council, I will.
Okay, great.
Yeah, it was on there, but it kind of got dropped off.
No
in-
problem
in
at all. I just wanna
translation,
make
But I
sure.
will have that on the full agenda.
Great, thanks, Ken.
Number 5, I'm sorry, all in favor? We didn't vote on that. Unanimous. Thank you. Number 5, authorize a purchasing agent to issue a purchase order to Compan in an amount not to exceed $383,176.32 for the sole source purchase of a new playground for Veterans Park off the Omnia purchasing contract number 2017001135, funding from the Deep Beautification Grant account number noted. Someone please move the item. Thank you, Mr. Goldstein.
So, Madam Chair, this is from the grant from the DEEP. We received 4.5 million for some work at Ludlow Park, Veterans Park, and also citywide garbage and refuse collection systems. So this is for the playground replacement over at Veterans Park. It's a relatively big playground, which is why the number is a little bit higher than our typical playgrounds. It's probably 1.5 to 2 times the size of a regular playground. But it's an entire replacement. So this is going to be exciting because we have some big plans for that site.
Ms. Ayers?
Okay, prior to this grant coming through, when was that playground replaced?
I can get you that information. I have a list of all of our playgrounds and the dates that they were installed. I don't have
Okay.
that on me right now, but I can send you guys an email of that list.
And my rationale is just, is there an order in which we're gonna replace? Because I just
Mhm.
thinking of some playgrounds that see that they need to be attention now.
Yep.
Is there any reason why the veteran parks got like pushed up, or if you could just speak to that.
Sure. So the DEP grant really concentrated on the waterfront area, Ludlow Park and Veterans Park. So that's one of the reasons why we're using that funding there. And that being said, we do have our capital projects, and I believe we have 2 to 3 playgrounds for replacement slated July 1. And just so you know, through ARPA funding, we're going to be replacing Flax Hill, Kendall School, Boughton Street, and Meadow Street also. So those are already on the books. So what we do is, Nicole, we have a list. I have a list of the dates the playgrounds were installed. So we just go from the top of the list, what playgrounds are next in terms of replacement.
And my last thing, and I know you're going to do this just for the public to know, when you get to that point of the schematics and what you will be presenting that to this council so that the community and we all can see what it should look like
I
before
will,
you.
yes. I wanted this one to be a surprise, but I will show you guys a preview. I'm very excited about this one. I will guarantee you guys will love this one. It'll knock your socks off.
Thank you.
Are you, that was it, Ms. Ayers? Okay, Mr. Goldstein?
All I wanted to add, Nicole asked the question I had about some sort of a design, something for us to look at, but I also, I just didn't get a sense from the backup material about timing. When you expect construction to begin, when you expect, construction to finish, obviously you have to take down the original playground, put this up. What's the schedule or anticipated schedule looking like here?
So, unfortunately, they never tie down a schedule until we go through this entire approval process. But it has been running 4 to 6 months right now for equipment to come in. So my guess is this would be kind of a late fall, early winter install.
Okay. So the idea being that this would be up and running for kids to enjoy and use by summer 2024.
Correct.
Okay.
Ms. Is that it, Mr. Goldstein?
Yep, that's it.
Okay. Ms. McMurray?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Ken, so I just want to piggyback off of what Josh said about, I wanted to ask Ludlow Park, because I know we had voted about that a little while back. The timing of that, as well as this, which you already answered, but then also, oh, I just lost my train of thought. I'm sorry. Go ahead and answer that. and
Okay,
hopefully
so
that'll come back to
Ludlow
me.
has already been ordered. So that was
Awesome.
already approved by the Common Council. So that order has been put through. We're probably looking at September, October for the equipment to come in. They're still running a little bit slow since COVID on equipment coming in, but we did what we had to do on our end. So now it's just kind of a waiting game.
Sure. And then in terms of the playgrounds, does that schedule that you mentioned earlier, because it came back to me, does that include the school playgrounds as well?
Yes. Yep. It's all playgrounds that we maintain.
Awesome. Great. Thank you so much.
Ken, I have one question, and I'm sure this is already included, but all of the new equipment is ADA compliant, right?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Just checking.
Yeah.
And another thing, maybe I'll just talk offline about this, but you know that we have an ADA coordinator, right? Have you met?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
And is he given?
So our playground designers are certified.
Right.
The certified playground
Mhm.
designers, so they're well versed on
Yeah.
regulations and requirements for playgrounds.
Okay. He sits right out my door outside, so I hear a lot, and I used to do this ADA stuff, but I think I was just trying to tell him that he should just be connected so that he knows the things that are going
Yeah,
on.
have him reach out to me.
And I did tell him that he needed to talk to you and Robert, so he is planning to do that.
Okay.
Is there- I'm sorry, Ken, you had something to say?
Yeah, Delina, can you hear me? Delene, Miss Bird.
Hold on, I was just trying to open that. Hold on a second.
Okay. We can take it. We can keep going if.
Okay, I didn't, okay, Ms. Ayers?
I have constituents in my head, so this is just popping up. Is there any way that our designs incorporate solar or wind power or anything like that
So
for playgrounds?
solar in terms of
Like if
what?
there's going to be some lighting, could it be solar lighting? If it's going to be I know when Devon Park came online, it was like a cutting edge park. It had like all the news materials. I remember reading about it in like, I think the Norwalk Hour or a press release that we were like in a cutting edge of materials in innovation and all that stuff. And I guess it was last year, sometime, or maybe before then, I was visiting another state, and they had like wind power elements and different types of elements built into their playground. Are we thinking along that lines? I know we've had a lot of constituents recently reach out to the entire council about being more green and trying to incorporate that in all our billing aspects. Now, you may say, Nicole, you are so left field and that's not anything we can do, and that's fine. But on behalf of them, I felt I should ask the question.
Yeah, so if there were any need for power or things within the play area, of course, that would be something that we would look at. But typically when we do a playground, we don't really have any area that's power. I mean, typically they're in sites that already have lights on the site and things. But I mean, obviously that's something we would look at if we ever required lighting or something around a playground. Absolutely.
All right, any more questions? Okay, all in favor?
I have
Oh. That's it, that's nice.
so because you guys strong on me. So
Good
That's
job,
awesome. That's
Ken.
nice.
So now,
Yeah,
mind you, so
really.
this is Veterans Park, so it fits perfectly in the theme of Vets Park. I thought this was really cool. And if you look closely, all the elements have to do with the water, with boating. So I think it's an excellent fit. Delene, is there any way to share that second picture I just sent you?
Yeah, give me 2 seconds.
You really delivered, like you
So, I
said.
know. You know what? I was gonna surprise you. I wasn't just gonna install it and surprise you guys. But
I selfishly want to see the Ludlow
was
Park
nice.
one now
Because-
too, but you
because
don't have to
you
do that
asked-
tonight.
Right,
Ludlow Park's really cool too.
I want to see that one too.
I did
Okay,
I did a lifeguard shack at Ludlow Park.
that's really, really nice. Really
I
nice.
want to see that one. You don't have to do it tonight, but I would like to see that one since that's the one my
I
kids.
got one
very
more picture,
impressive
one more
looking.
picture. She's gonna thank you. I got one more picture Delene's gonna show you guys, which kind of gives you a different view.
Oh, fun.
That's really nice.
Yeah.
I
mean,
wanna
it's gonna-
play on
It's
it.
gonna be a destination. It really is.
I like it.
Thank you.
Good job.
It's gonna look really cool on the water in Norwalk.
Yeah.
Nice.
We
Good
had a
job.
pirate ship park in Chicago when I was raising my girls that had a lot of these things. It was packed. It was so popular. The kids loved it.
Oh, yeah. I can't wait.
Great. Yeah.
Okay.
Ken's gonna be out there playing on it with me.
Absolutely. I'm the first one. I tested out.
Okay. Did we vote on it? We did a lot of talking on that. All in favor? We did say all in favor? Absolutely. Great. All right, for discussion purposes, to modify the code of Norwalk CT Department of Recreation and Parks, section 1.4 pets, to add the following: at no time shall one handler have more than 3 dogs under his or her command.
So, Madam Chair, the Department of Recreation and Parks has sort of an internal code which guides our operations through the department. There are sections that are somewhat dated and does need to be updated as we go. This is actually the part on the screen now that has to deal with pets. So we're fielding a lot of complaints about dog walkers up at Cranberry Park with more than 3, 4, 5 dogs under their command, whether or not they're a commercial business doing dog training, whether they're getting paid to walk dogs, whatever the reason may be, we are getting complaints. So I want to bring this to the attention of the committee to see if there's any interest in possibly regulating the number of dogs per handler up at Veterans Park.
Just
So
so
can
I
you- go
understand
ahead.
the nature of the complaint
yeah,
a
that's
little
what I
more
wanted to know.
here.
Go ahead.
Like, is it the fact that what I'm imagining, and tell me if I'm wrong, is someone who you use one of these dog walk apps like WAG or something like that, and they're bringing a bunch of dogs to the park, and then the dogs run all over the place, and it's hard for one person to control them, and it's interfering with other people. Is that essentially what the complaint is?
That's one of the reasons. Another reason is that there's a few private businesses using the City of Norwalk Parks facilities to do their dog training. So that's another complaint that we receive.
And they're not permitted to do that? They don't have a permit or whatever?
So technically, no, because they're a business. So they
Right.
shouldn't be using city property to conduct their business.
Has anyone addressed these businesses or provided correspondence or given them a warning that they can't do these kind of activities?
So yes, and one of the issues are so if we see somebody there with 5, 6, 7 dogs, they're just walking the dogs through the park for their neighbors. So we don't have recourse right now if we see somebody with 8 or 9 dogs.
But like, what kind of business is having 8 or 9 dogs? I don't understand the business part of this.
Somebody doing a favor for the neighbors, walking the pets.
Okay,
You know, that could be the reason why they're telling us they're at the park.
So,
Where we know they're probably getting paid to walk the dogs.
yeah.
so how would we, I'm sorry, Josh, were you done?
No, I'm finished,
Okay.
I'm finished.
How would we manage that? How would we control that?
So we would get on board with the animal control officer when we first announce this, if we're going to do that. And then, you know, we'll have signage posted, which we don't have right now. And Cranberry is pretty self-policing. So the users of Cranberry Park, the diehard users, you know, really self-police the park, which is good.
Mhm.
But we can't put it all on them, especially if we don't have certain rules in place that, you know, would help them.
So if someone were walking 4 dogs in the park, what would happen? So if I decide to do that tomorrow, who do I call? Like, how does that work?
So if you walk 4 dogs tomorrow, you're more than welcome to. We
No,
have
after
enough-
this, if we do this, so if we do this and we walk and someone is in violation,
So they would be asked, you know, by our staff to leave. We either give them, we point to the sign that says, you know, no more than 3 dogs per handler. And if they refuse to leave, then at least we can call the PD.
Ms. McMurray?
Just a follow up. So that's that's assuming that there's staff on site at that given time. What number do they call, and will that be posted in addition to alert somebody that there's a violation?
And that's when we'll work with the animal control officer. But
Okay.
we do have staff on site 5 days a
Okay.
week in
Okay.
season. So we have somebody who reports to Cranberry Park 6 a.m. to 2:30 p.m. Monday to Friday.
Oh, okay.
I mean, Chair, I would just ask, because I work with the police so often because of public safety, that we just run this by them as well before we make any decisions.
Absolutely. Agreed. Ms. Ayers?
And I might have missed this, I'm so sorry. Is this just for Cranberry Park or would this be citywide?
So here's the issue. So Cranberry Park is technically an allowed dog park, as is Taylor Farm. Per our regulations, there's not dogs allowed at any other park or school grounds in the city. So this would really pertain only to Cranberry Park. If you guys wanted to extend it to Taylor, but that's an off-leash site, so that'd be a little bit more difficult to patrol.
Okay.
It seems like a good idea to try it at one place and see how it goes. I'm so
Right.
sorry, Josh. I didn't see your hand up. Forgive me.
No, that's okay. I guess I'm trying to gauge a sense of proportionality. Like, when you say lots of complaints, like, what are we talking about? Are we talking
So
about?
over the past 3 weeks, probably 6.
Okay. Are there other, before you change the code here, are there other things that your department or you've considered, or things that you should try, think might try before we sort of, consider amending the code?
Yeah, I mean, that's why this is here, for discussion. And Josh, so this code is a little bit different than, like the City of Norwalk code. This is more
Right.
an internal set of regulations that could be changed by this committee, or some of them could be changed by the director also. So it's not as formal as an ordinance or, the code for the City of Norwalk. But that's why we brought it for you guys, just kind of for discussion, to possibly get it on the agenda. Maybe if anybody has any opinions from the public, they can come to us and speak, or give us an email. Just let us know what they're thinking and the pluses and minuses of having something like this on the books.
Yeah, I mean, look, I wholeheartedly agree with my colleague, Councilmember McMurr, on at least consulting police, because I think enforcement will definitely be a challenge here. I think that a lot of the underlying issues about the complaints, like dogs running around, and causing disturbances and stuff, first of all, not only seem to be covered by the code here, I think are covered in more than one place throughout our city code too. So I guess my question would be sort of, I just want to make sure we're having a proportional response to the issue here. And I'm not sure this is it, but I can be convinced. This is my initial thought right now.
Sure.
Ms. McMurray?
I just had one other comment, with all due respect, I am going to take the opposite opinion of Ms. Shanahan on this. I think that we should actually have it across the board for Taylor Farm and Cranberry Park if we're going to do it, because my fear is, I live by Taylor Farm. My fear is that if you have it in one place, then the people who are doing it at Cranberry Park are just going to move to Taylor Farm. And that is not a trail situation, as we all know. It's sort of more open. And what I find to be problematic, and I have had complaints about in the past, not many, but if you lose control of a dog, it's very easy for them to then run across the street to the beach where they are absolutely not allowed. And if you have more than 3, I think that becomes a more highly probable problem. So I would suggest doing it for all, not just for one.
I take your point. I think that's a good point that you made. So I can see that. I definitely think that's a good.
I totally saw what you said too. I mean, I don't want to debate or disagree with you by any means, because I see why you said that, but
No, I don't think I knew that your points about Taylor Farm are things I didn't know. So I think it's great.
No problem at all. So that would just be what I would look into if we decided to move forward with this. Thank you.
Ms. Ayers?
My mind is not sinking tonight. If we go back to what you originally said, Ken, about businesses using public areas to do their business, what I perceived or how I heard that was there may be like a dog training business, or do they have doggy exercising businesses? I don't know. They're LLC or a business, but they're doing their business in our parks. Am I understanding that correctly?
So we can make that assumption. If we see somebody walking 8 or 9 dogs, we can make an assumption that they're somehow making money.
So like then they may be dog sitting it. Like the people might be away and they're just dog sitting. It's
Correct.
not necessarily I'm walking my dog and I'm gonna walk my neighbor's dog, which could be a scenario, but that's a highly less scenario. So my question is around, and this is probably not for you, Ken, but if there are businesses in our city, what communication are we having with those businesses that deal with this about this problem? What outreach are we having around this to maybe those businesses that might be doing this? Has there been any outreach?
So, it's not a case of us going up there and seeing, Joe's dog walking truck up there, and then we see 9 dogs unloaded and him doing the training. So we don't see that. We're told by a lot of users of the park that, hey, there's a guy up there all the time who's walking 9 dogs and he's training them on the trails. Whether or not that's true, or, I don't know. So we don't really have any targeted businesses that we can knock on their door and say, hey, listen, you can't come to Cranberry, because we don't know who they are.
So just to cover our pooch's bottoms, would it be advantageous? Would it be scope of you two are laughing at me? I guess that.
I swear to God, I'm not laughing at you, but this conversation, and I'm going to ask a bunch of questions too. Josh texted me something different, but I'm laughing because we're taking this very seriously, and it is serious, but I have a lot of questions too. So I'm laughing at myself more than anything. I apologize.
We're definitely barking up this tree. There's no
I
doubt about it.
apologize. There's so many puns.
Just wanted to talk about the doggies. Let's talk about the doggies.
The dog
So
business, all the things.
So my question, can we do some type of partnership with economic development, that department, to do some outreach and saying, hey, we just want to, I just want us to cover our pooch's bottoms. I just really want us to cover ourselves and say, hey, you might not be aware, but this is an issue that's ongoing. We're trying to be, respectful of all citizens as well as business. This is coming down the pipeline. Because what I find sometimes is we enact ordinances or codes and stuff, and people are not aware. For whatever reason, it might be their own reason, they're just not aware. I really want to talk about the outreach or how we can do any, if at all possible, outreach for at least those businesses that have registered with the city, or even if we could contact the Chamber of Commerce. I don't know. I'm just asking. I might be reaching. Just asking.
So, I mean, I think part of the hope of putting this out there is to start those discussions,
Right.
you know, and see if there is any public, you know, opinion or outcry or people in favor or against. I mean, you know, that's the reason why we have these discussions in a public forum. So they know what we're thinking, they know what we're planning on doing. And if, you know, they choose to come and say their piece, then that's awesome.
I'm really sorry about.
Okay, go ahead, Ms.
I
McMurray. I wasn't
apologize.
sure. Okay, go
I
ahead.
apologize again.
We were supposed
I'm
to
gonna
make this
laugh at the
quick.
questions
It's
I'm
okay.
about to ask too, because we said this was gonna be a quick meeting. and
meeting,
we're
right.
gonna Deep
It's
dive into
okay.
this. It's fine.
Yep.
I would assume a lot of these dog walking businesses are not necessarily licensed or registered, I should say. I mean, so it's really hard to do outreach, although I agree with Ms. Ayers about it. I'm wondering if, because we don't get a lot of participation in our committee meetings and we're just putting this out for discussion, if we should think about doing some other types of outreach, like whether we write an op-ed asking for opinions about it, or how else we can get this out to the greater community. I also would wonder, and again, I don't know if we can answer this, and Ken, I'm certainly not looking for you to answer this, because it's how many businesses exist that would be walking, you know, more than 3 dogs. Like, are we going to cut them off by the knees and like put them out of business? And like, maybe this is somebody's sole income. And if we only let them walk 3 dogs at a time, where are they allowed to walk these dogs if not at these 2 parks where dogs are allowed? I don't know, but those are the things I would be thinking about. I know that there are people complaining about it, but I think on the flip side, there might be people complaining about not being able to do this if it's their business.
And
their dog's
to Ms.
business.
Yes,
Sorry, I
and
had
to Ms. McMurray's point, because that was something I was thinking of earlier, maybe even if they register with Recreation and Parks, so if you're not a formal legal business, just at least letting us know that you're a dog walker, or you're a dog sitter, right? So if someone complains, at least that person is registered with Recreation and Parks, so that we know that these folks are out there. I mean, I don't know. And I do agree with Jen, you would be interfering with someone's livelihood if that's how they make their income.
So
walking
as a
dogs,
department,
but-
we regulate commercial uses within parks all the time.
Right,
So we don't allow a gym to go and hold fitness classes.
right,
We don't allow a Zumba instructor to go to the beach and run Zumba classes unless they're registered and pay a fee to the city. So this is almost along the same lines.
right.
You know, if you're a dog walker and you want to use city property for your livelihood, then there's going to be either a fee, you know, to the city, or there's going to be some regulations that you have to abide by.
Makes sense.
I mean, maybe there's a section up at Cranberry that we have dedicated to this,
Right,
you know, to 3 or more dogs at a time. You know, that's
I mean,
an idea.
it's big enough.
Yeah, I completely agree. And I think that a lot of this is going to be, I mean, I mentioned one of these apps that I know friends of mine have used called WAG. I'm sure there are others where it's not going to be very clear, unless there's someone walking with like 10 dogs, and then like it's pretty obvious. But I think the solution about, you know, if there is someone on WAG or something who wants to use this park, some sort of a permit or something,
Right.
I think kind of kills 2 birds with 1 stone.
Mhm.
And that, I don't know if that's something that other municipalities do. I don't know if you've done any research into how other municipalities have dealt with this issue.
Yeah,
or if they
we'll
have
do
it
some
all.
research.
Yeah,
do,
I think that
yeah.
might be helpful here.
Yep.
All right, good discussion. So I think, you know, there were some good ideas that came out of this. I think we do have to connect with the police somehow. And maybe just have some public something or another. I don't know what that would look like, but some sort of forum or some way to get out the information. Okay, any other comments, thoughts? That's it? I do have something. So I don't know if we've gotten any calls about the new parking situation at the beach where we put up the you know, the place where folks can walk through and be comfortable and safe. It's very difficult to get out of the park though. So have you heard that?
No, so in what way? How is it?
So once you get in, it's, a couple of people have been calling or writing and saying it's kind of difficult to manage your way out. Like if you want to go out, you have to go all the way around and come back out. And I don't think that it's very clear how to get out. I think it takes people meandering through, and once you go out, you've got to go all the way back around. And I think,
The only complaint that I've heard more than once was getting from the main parking lot over to the Shane McGrath Memorial area,
yeah.
because the area by the volleyball courts are now one way.
Mhm.
So if you want to go from the main lot over to Shane McGrath, you have to go out, loop around and go back in. So I did hear that complaint.
I had a couple of calls about just that, and just getting in and out of the.
So I can tell you, they're looking at making that a two-way now over where the volleyball courts are,
Mhm.
which would alleviate that issue. So
Okay,
they are looking at that now.
okay.
And that'll help getting from the main lot over to the water side where people like to park and eat their lunch.
Okay. All right. Ms. McMurray?
I just wanted to add an addition. I did find it confusing when I first went through, but then I figured it out.
Mhm.
But Ken, who are they? Who's they that's deciding this?
So we engage AIA Engineering, the traffic engineers. So they are working with DPW engineers, they designed the project. So they know a lot more about traffic flow and vehicles than I do.
I just
So-
thought you did everything.
No, I don't do that. So we rely heavily on their opinion and their advice on what would work best.
That
in
makes
terms
sense.
of-
And I do think that that would help because I do tend to even get stuck in that area and it's like, do not enter. And then I'm
Right.
like, oh, wait, let me go this way and this way. I also want to just put out a PSA. If people donate toys to the toy library, please do not take them home with you because none of mine are still there after I donated 20 toys. So please do not do that. Leave them there for other children to play with. Thanks so much.
And we just put signs in Spanish saying similar too. And we did add a bunch more signage, exit signs and stuff throughout the beach. So as we're realizing more signage is needed, we are putting it up. So I think we added 7 more exit signs pointing people to the right way to get out.
Thank you. All right, anybody have anything else? No? All right, this is good. Motion to adjourn? We can do that? Everybody? I'll pick somebody, Miss Ayers. All in favor, goodbye. We're leaving.
Have a good night, everyone.
Everybody.
Good
Good night.
Good
This
night.
is good and quick. I like it.